On May 5th, 2026, I gave this Ignite talk at DevOpsDays Austin. An Ignite talk has a hard 5-minute time limit. You submit a 20-slide deck ahead of time, and the deck plays at a fixed 15-second per slide pace. It's a challenging format. I've recreated the talk here to both kick off my YouTube channel and share a version of this talk until the live recording is published by the DevOpsDays Austin organizers. Hi, I'm Darren Carpenter, and if you know anything about me, then you probably know I've been captivated with a project I call DevOps Applied to Everything, and it's been almost 8 years now. But I'm not really trying to figure out how public clouds, open source software, and computer automation can be used to improve everything in our world. Instead, I'm looking at systems of ideas, like ideas that inspired the DevOps movement, and like ideas from W. Edwards Deming and Toyota's Kaizen. And I'm trying to describe a universal and moving towards ideal model in the abstract. And what I'm really asking is there a pattern amongst principles that leads to more ideal outcomes in human activity regardless of the domain? And if there is, then maybe there are other sources that we need to learn from. And if we can learn from these other sources, maybe that would change how we think about things like the DevOps movement and other things, and who all we learn from. These kinds of systems seem to have pillars, but arriving at ideal pillars is challenging because each pillar informs and reinforces all the others. There are connections and commonalities, such that it's hard to tell what is a pillar and what is a more general concept. One pillar, or maybe it's a general concept, that I will explore with you today is measurement. Measurement is not just about numbers on a ruler or a thermometer, but includes the more sophisticated and sciencey ways we describe complex systems and dynamic phenomena. In the abstract, measurement can even include things like taxonomy, classification, our words, structured language, and even how we connect ideas. In essence, I'm defining measurement as or maybe the fundamental tool humans use in epistemology, or how we know what we know. But often things go wrong. When we build our systems, measurement leads us to expect certain results, but sometimes it seems like our systems misbehave. Campbell's law, a principle in the social sciences, says, the more any quantitative social indicator is used for social decision-making, the more subject it will be to corruption pressures, and the more apt it will be to distort and corrupt the social processes it's intended to monitor. Elihu Goldratt put it more simply this way: tell me how you measure me, and I will tell you how I behave. Measurement, especially when it's intended to control a system, can often corrupt the system. And I'd assert, it's not just the numerical measures, but most, if not all measures, and not just social systems. In a certain sense, we see this in the hard sciences, the observer paradox. You can't observe a system without interacting with it. I started a catalog of stories about measurement gone wrong, but after discovering Campbell's law and the many other associated and derivative statements, I started seeing it everywhere. It's not just about shallowly considered initiatives, second-order effects, and unintended consequences, and it's not just about malicious compliance, gaming the system, or looking out for number one. Ultimately, it's about the human condition, our frailties, our imperfections, our limitations. It's about what we know and what we think we know. It's also about what we don't know and what we think we know. It's about what we try to control and our lack of control. Deming once said that most management, and even most top management, has no idea what their job is. They need to learn, but much of what they need to learn can't be learned on the job or by walking the factory floor. Maybe we learn to measure by finding a teacher who's an astronomer or a chemist, who works at a nuclear power plant or a particle accelerator. Maybe we learn about measurement from an economist, or from an artist, or from a social psychology researcher, or maybe even from a therapist. Do you want a concrete example? This one's been debated for years, but teachers used to give their students tests in order to self-assess as a way to find the teacher's own personal successes and failures so that they could learn and improve their craft, and to model healthy self-assessment for their students, not for student grades. We often think we can tame the universe through our measured measures, but measurement is about epistemology. Thanks for listening and coming out to check out my YouTube channel. If you like this, please leave a like, a comment, or subscribe. I'm just dipping my toe in the water to try out YouTube as a location to publish my work. When my friends reviewed the slides for this talk, they told me that I had enough content in the slides for at least a 25-minute talk. They're not wrong. Even focusing on Campbell's law and on my thesis for this talk, I could easily give a longer talk, and that's what I expect to post here next. There's a bit more work to do, so no promises yet. However, support and encouragement never hurts, so let me know what you think. On the broader subject of DevOps applied to everything, if you have more questions or would like to hear more, also let me know here. There's a lot more to talk about here, and a lot of work done, but also a lot more work left to do, especially in terms of publishing, so please feel free to engage and ask more questions. Who knows, you may even drive the next talk or video subject. I'm also interested in finding someone who would like to discuss the broader subject I'm engaged in here in a podcast-style format. Is there a pattern to arrive at ideal outcomes regardless of domain? Whatever your interest, please reach out to me and let me know. I'd love for this project to be more self-sustaining, but at this point, it's mostly supported by my passion and some old sound gear I have lying around. Again, thanks for listening, and thanks ahead for your time and for your support.